Hi, welcome to the second episode of Echoes of Curiosity. I'm so glad you could join me. And I had no idea this was going to be as fun as it's turning out to be. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking some time out of your day to join me in this really first subject episode because I'm going to be talking about a couple of books today. And, um, and that's what's on the agenda. The first book that I want to talk about is this one. It's called Awake. It's by Jen Hatmaker. I didn't know really anything about this author until we attended a book festival, the Decatur Book Festival, a few months back, and she happened to be there, and we saw her speak, and then picked up a copy of the book. Then, and it was completely by chance that I found this, and yet it had an immediate and profound effect on me. And there couldn't be anything more dissimilar between my life and this woman's life, but she has some very universal truths that she shares in this memoir. And basically what it's about is her the dissolving of her many years long marriage. Not sure exactly how many years she was married, but the husband was cheating. She found out about this, and she immediately kicked him out of her home, out of their home, and then went on this journey of self discovery. And her background is really interesting. She walked through profound personal and spiritual transformation as a result of what happened. But I think she was already going through this before she even encountered this dilemma, this mega dilemma in her life. So I think the book answers some questions about identity, faith, and belonging. Those are huge ones. Those are huge things. Identity, faith, and belonging. And her journey is rooted in curiosity about what is true and what is loving and what is real. I I enjoyed reading this. It's been a couple months since I read it. The second book that I'm going to discuss, I actually just finished the other day, and we'll get to that momentarily. But let me first talk about this book, Awake. The name is Awake, and again, it's a memoir, and it's by Jen Hatmaker. A little bit about this author. She and I knew nothing about this before I started reading the book. Well, only what she shared when she was on stage there at the book festival. It wasn't too much. The thing is that she already had a huge following. I guess she's been on programs before with her husband, with her now ex-husband. She had a large social media following. She clearly had it already established. She already wrote several books. I mean, there's a list here in this book of other titles by Jen Hatmaker. And one, two, three, four, five, six. There's six different books out there by this author, but perhaps a couple of those books were written before she experienced this transformation, and a lot of the transformation is actually about her upbringing in a very conservative evangelical church, and the discovery from her experience there. One of the striking things about this is the image that's on the cover of the book, and it's of a rose. I don't know if you can see. I'm pretty sure you can. This rose was used as a demonstration in her early religious education or indoctrination, whatever you want to call it, and it had to do with purity for these teenagers who were learning about the faith that they were raised in. And the speaker at this one talk that she attended, and I think she was in her teenage years, talked about, and specifically to the girls that were present, that they are now like this rose. But as soon as they had impure thoughts, or as soon as they did something that was impure or sinful, usually having to do with the body, one of those petals would be taken off. And the demonstration was petal by petal, you're losing this virginity, this beautiful rose, and by the end, of course, the flower is bare, and there are no more petals left. And so it was used as a dramatic device for this, again, religious educator from Jen Hatmaker's past. The memoir reads actually backwards in a sense, because she talks a lot about her life and her development, but the book begins with the ending, which is the ending of her years-long marriage and relationship with her husband. One of the things that I'd like to share from the book, and I've got several markers here that I'd like to share, but one of them is from the chapter called Simple. And I love this. I'll read it directly from the book. And so this is a direct quote. Organized religion was my perfect drug. Now, not belief in mystery or connection to the divine, quote unquote, in both cases, or any of those softer woo-woo versions, but rather church hierarchies, clear rules with clear consequences, reliable groupthink, outward criterion. This is what we believe, simple. This is what we do, simple. This is what we don't do, simple. This is what's true, simple. Yeah, it just really resonates with me, because there's that smug assurance that they already have all the answers. And on its surface, I know that's not true. None of these organized religions has in my opinion, has a stranglehold on the truth. Some of them probably far, far away from it. Here's another one. Find this. This is in the chapter called Another Word About That. Still along the same lines. But believe what you are told, not what you see. Believe what you are taught, not what you feel. Believe what we say, not what you know deep in your soul. Those are pretty strong words, and I like that. I like her writing. Her style of writing is very straightforward and uses very much everyday language. I love that about her writing. Here's another one from the same chapter, no, a different one, called Resistance. And I'd like to share this quote. I learned to breathe in for 8 seconds, hold for 4, then exhale slowly for another 8, and I'll be damned if breathing doesn't help calm the internal panic. What on earth? Even babies know how to breathe, and they didn't even have to pay to learn. Really cool stuff. Here's continue on with that thought several paragraphs later. But some transmutation happens when I let the fear rise, peak, and recede without a fight. It forfeits a great deal of its power, like it feeds off the strain, and without the tension, it goes slack. Just some great wisdom there. Really great wisdom. Let me find another part that really resonated with me. This was great. These are 2 very, very short chapters that just, both of them are a bunch of questions. And the first one, which immediately precedes the second set of questions, goes like this. Questions I am done asking. Questions I am done asking. And I'll just go down the list. They're all really impactful. Will this bother someone? Am I asking too much? Does he, she, they like me? What's wrong with my body? Can I handle this? Should I just be okay with this? Is it too scary to change this? Is this making everyone else happy? Are my needs an imposition? Am I smart enough? Am I brave enough? Am I maintaining my lovability? I so relate this. Is God disappointed in me? Is being alone worse than being unhappy? Should I keep hiding? What a list. What a list. I think I took a picture of that page and shared it to social media, if I remember correctly. The second one is questions I will ask myself forever. I guess that means eternity. What do I want? What do I love? What do I need? What does my body know? Why not me? What am I excited about? Am I free? Who does God say I am? What do I care about? How do I want to live? How can I love beautifully? Wow, I love that one. Am I being honest? Am I being true? Am I happy with me? Wow. I really love those two very simple chapters, and I could frame those questions because they're all significant. One set of questions is really addressing the things that at least for this writer she chose to put out of her life forever, and the other speaks to forever as in positive, good questions to ask myself, and I really like that. This book, again, I highly recommend it. I have the hard copy here, and I've enjoyed this because, as I always do, I highlight where I want to and earmark the pages. Not now generally with these things, not dog ear the pages. But anyway, I like this. The book is most definitely available both in audio form and in digital form. So I encourage you to get it. I think you'll enjoy it, and you don't have to be going through what this woman went through to enjoy the wisdom of this book. I'm telling you, it's great. Awake, a memoir by Jen Hatmaker, and it was in fact she is in fact a New York Times best-selling author. And she has on the front of this book there is an endorsement by the next writer that I'm going to talk about here. And this endorsement, I'll read it verbatim. I can't imagine any woman reading this without feeling seen, inspired, and totally empowered. And that is from Mel Robbins. And she is the #1 New York Times best-selling author of the Let Them Theory. And I'm going to talk about the Let Them Theory as soon as we come back. And for now, I'm just taking a short break, and then I'll pick up. What can I say about Mel Robbins? She already has millions of adoring fans, and I guess I'm coming kind of late to the game, but I'm now going to count myself among one of her big fans because this woman's on top of it. She is just on top of it. What I'm talking about here is this book, The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. It is a #1 New York Times bestseller, and the cover is really cool. It says, a life-changing tool that millions of people can't stop talking about. And this is obviously true. Millions of people are talking about this. She has literally millions of followers across platforms that are out there, and I'm looking forward to watching some of her podcasts. Haven't done it yet because I've been just engrossed in this book. Look at all these marks. These are all because these are areas of the book or places in the book where I've highlighted things, and I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and mark every one of these pages. I don't know that I'll get to all of them, but Mel Robbins approaches curiosity from a behavioral and emotional angle. Um, I love that she notices patterns. She questions reactions here, and she's found, and this is a personal journey for her as well. She's found that letting go of the need to manage other people is key. So that's the let them theory. And what I love about this is as I got into the book, and I'm thinking, wow, let them sounds kind of good. Let them think what they want. Let them do what they want. But there's another huge component to let them, and that is the second part, the second half, which she goes into quite beautifully throughout the book, which is let me. So I can't control what anybody else is doing or saying or thinking, but I can control what I'm doing, saying, and thinking. Sounds simple, right? But we, as she puts somewhere in this book, we are hardwired to do things differently. We're hardwired to think differently, and that's just human beings. And it's just great to have the awareness now. And I felt like there was a personal connection with just about everything that she covered in this book. So let me start with the first things that I highlighted here. Really simple at the beginning. She's learning how to push yourself. I'm quoting directly from the book. Learning how to push yourself to take action when you are afraid or full of self-doubt or overwhelmed with excuses is a life skill you can learn. She establishes that early on, and as it relates to her own journey. And because she learned it, she encourages us to learn it. And here's the bottom line of all of it. This is, again, close to the beginning of the book. The reality is, I quote again, the reality is no matter how hard you try or what you do, you cannot control other people, and yet you live your life as if you can. I relate to that. I mean, I had fantasies for much of my life and stories that I told myself that I could, in fact, and I had this incredible power to control others, or at least I tried to. And it was always ending in disaster. Each time that it happened, it ended in total disaster. And yet I didn't learn. Over and over again, it was just this simple truth that if I could have been understanding of this when I was much younger, maybe things would have gone differently. But it's nice to know it now. So let me look to the next part that I've highlighted here. There's so many. I doubt that I'll get to all of them. I want to keep this as brief as I can, with some comments at the end here. Anyway, this is another one. This is a cruel fact about time. Quoting from the book again. This is a cruel fact about time. It's going to keep passing, whether you slow down or not. The time you have with the people that you love is like a melting ice cube. So true. So true. Take that time that you're experiencing with those that you love and cherish it. I mean, it's a big one. I love this as a short quote from one of the chapters. Your silence cannot be misquoted. I need to write that down and put it somewhere where I can see it on a regular basis. Yeah, another great piece of wisdom. You are never stuck. That's a lie you tell yourself. You can leave a job, a relationship, a living situation, a date, an interview, or a conversation anytime you want to. We are ultimately free to do those things. And some people, I think, including myself, get into this pattern where, oh no, I'm stuck. I can't do anything about it. I'm stuck and I don't have any way out. And that's absolutely not true. The way out is here. It's not about outward physical stuff. At least not as far as I can see. Let's see here. When you allow your fear of, this is from chapter 5, by the way. I'm not noting where these are located in the book, where these quotes that I'm sharing with you are located in the book. They're just the parts that resonated with me, and if you read the book, you'll find all of them in there. This is from the chapter 5. Let them think bad thoughts about you. I do like the title of that chapter. Let them think bad thoughts about you. Here's a quote. When you allow your fear of what other people think to stop you from doing what you want to do, you become a prisoner to other people's opinions. How true is that? This fear impacts every aspect of your life. It makes you procrastinate. It makes you doubt yourself. It paralyzes you with perfectionism. It's the reason you overthink. Overthinking. Wow, overthinking. There's a personal connection there for me. I overthink everything, it seems. I overthink everything. And I found that thinking less about some things really makes sense. It really does. This is good. Instead of fearing other people's opinions, you are just going to allow them to think what they want. In fact, I recommend that you assume people will think negative thoughts about you, because people do have negative thoughts about you. This is normal. I love that she put this in there. I mean, that's a fact. People, and because we can't see what's going on in other people's minds, we don't necessarily see this, but we know it happens. People have bad thoughts about other people. That's a very simple, egoic way of thinking, and it's the human or ego way to move through life. Of course, you can change that. That's the nice thing. Make decisions that make you proud. Here's a great quote. The point here is not to move through life as a selfish or narcissistic person who doesn't care about other people. I love that. The point is learning how to put your needs first as you're balancing what works for you with the expectations and feelings of other people. In life, you don't want to be a doormat, but you also don't want to be an inconsiderate bulldozer. It's a balance. Balance. Wow, balance. That is key to life here, I think. As long as I inhabit this body, I need to find balance in every aspect of life. In every aspect of life, there needs to be some balance. Let's see here. As she begins to talk about this let me part of the let them theory, I highlighted a few things that really resonated as well. Understanding the larger context, again, a quote from the book. Understanding the larger context will help you focus on the let me part and operate with more grace and be the wise and compassionate adult. The more grace and kindness you display, the more space you create for a change in the dynamic to happen. Whether their opinions are right or not is not the point. It's how you relate to their opinions that matter. This seems almost like common sense stuff, but again, my hardwired brain or mind, whatever you want to call it, that's not feeling this, and to be reminded that that's what my true self should or is feeling is a real revelation, I think, anyway. There's something to be said about frame of reference. This is about, and this was nice because it kind of explained empathy to me in a sense, a different way to explain that. And this is frame of reference, quote unquote, frame of reference is a fancy way to say understanding the lens through which somebody sees something, and it works beautifully with the let them theory. And moving on from that, in the same chapter, I am grateful for the let them theory because I also deeply understand, and this she's referring to a story she related, my mom, and why she felt reluctant 30 years ago. It wasn't judgment, it was grief. She wasn't wrong, she was right, but I wasn't wrong either. In fact, we were both right because we have different frames of reference. And this is really helpful for me to understand things about my own relationship with my mother. And again, just in the interest of time, I won't share the whole story of what she went through with her own mother. But it seemed like I got some of that before my mother passed away, that I finally did get some of that, and I'm so grateful for it, which was to um, try to see things from her frame of reference. And another quote from Mel Robbins: "It takes an extraordinarily mature person to be able to detach from your emotions and want to step into someone else's shoes." How great that is! How great that is! Stepping into someone else's frame of reference, again quoting Mel, is that understanding where someone is coming from may not change their opinion or yours, but it will deepen the connection that you have while you navigate your relationship. It helps you create space for two things to be true at once, and that space is where love can exist. Wow, I that is great. That space where love can exist. Yeah, there's so much more. There's so much more, and now I'm kind of picking and choosing as I move through here, because I highlighted obviously much more in this book than I did in the Jen Hatmaker book, and that's not to say that one book is better than the other. It's just that the Mel Robbins book, this book just resonated with me so much. Um, and I'm glad to share it with you, and I hope that you get a chance to read it. The book itself is it's not too long. It's a little over 300 pages, so it's I read it within, I think, a week's time. Um, Let me find one or two more things to share with you from this before I wrap this up. I love this. Let them show that it's possible. Maybe you've been so caught up in your day to day that you've ignored what's right in front of you. Maybe you've been playing so small that you can't see how big and beautiful your life could be. Maybe you're so used to doing things the way you've always done them, you've been reluctant to try a new way. That that is that's me in a nutshell. There it is. There's much more that she has to say when it comes to friendship, and she really helped me, I guess, become more aware, or reach an awareness about how friendships come and go, and how they, I guess, ebb and flow. To borrow an analogy. Um, and her three pillars of friendship, interestingly, and she expounds quite a bit on this, and I'll leave that for you to discover. But the three pillars of friendship in her writing are proximity, timing, and energy, and those are the components that she believes are factors that make great friendships possible. So, and that's one of the reasons why friendships change, because now, obviously there's a couple things there, but proximity is one of them. Physical proximity is a big one. Oh, so let me get to how this book just totally relates to this channel and what I'm trying to explore about curiosity, and that is from the chapter that it's titled "How to Create the Best Friendships of Your Life." And if you happen to have the book, or if you happen to read it soon, that's from chapter 13, How to Create the Best Friendships of Your Life. And in this, she lays out a plan here to be curious. Be curious. Um, Being a warm and approachable person is a skill. If you practice it, it becomes a way of life. Look, I'm going to pause here because this is difficult for introverts like myself, but I'm going to repeat the whole thing again here. Being a warm and approachable person is a skill. If you practice it, it becomes a way of life. When you move through life with a welcoming spirit, life opens up to you. And that it's absolutely true. I know for those times that I've been able to, go out there and do this very thing, um, I come away from those experiences with peace of mind. Here's an additional quote from her. You are opening up your energy, knowing that the people that are truly meant to be in your life are going to match it naturally. Wow. How many times I'm saying wow, as not only as I read through this book, but also as I'm rereading some of these important things. And yeah, bottom line, there's always something within your control. It's you. It's you. The only behavior change that you can control is your own. And this is where your power is. So, Mel Robbins is so on target with these words, and they seem so simple and really so common sense, but they are, in essence, ancient wisdom. All of the different um, spiritual things that I've learned in recent years have really been based on ancient wisdom. And that includes some of my most cherished spiritual sources, which include A Course in Miracles, which I will definitely approach at some point in this series. I can't wait to talk about it actually, because it's a beautiful and complex and lovely piece of writing. Yeah, I just started thinking about it, and it um, made me think about different approaches to A Course in Miracles. It's a huge work as well. It's voluminous. I think that's the word, voluminous, making up three different volumes and including a textbook, a workbook, and a manual for teachers. As the title alludes, A Course in Miracles. It's a course. It's a course. So I'll talk about that again later in another episode. But let me just talk a little bit about how these books have affected me. And both of them have made me think about spirituality again in different ways. I both of these intersect with my own journey of questioning, awakening, and letting go. And letting go is a big part of this. Letting go is such a big part of it, because what it is about letting go of previous patterns of thinking, previous ways of doing things, and ways that have become ingrained in my life. So these are incredible breakthroughs, and that again speaks to the personal connection I have with these, and how these books came into my life. I explained about Awake by Jen Hatmaker, but and how we encountered her at a book festival here in Atlanta. But the other book, the Mel Robbins book, actually was a Christmas gift from my husband, and so I've had it. I've had it since Christmas, but it didn't end or finish reading it until just a few days ago, and it wasn't that it would take me that long to normally read a book of this size. It was that I just wanted everything to sink in, and I'm just happy to share these with you. I am so glad you joined me today. I don't know how much time I've used here. I was going to set a timer, but I decided not to, and I'll see what the finished result shows me. But I thank you for joining me, and I look forward to our next episode, which is to be announced soon. Thank you for joining me, and have a great day. And don't forget, let's be curious together.